As American citizens, it is our responsibility to elect the representatives who govern us. But what happens when the voting process goes awry?
Sloppy work, inconsistent work. It's troubling beyond belief. I've had nightmares thinking about it. I go to bed and I can't believe that in America I'm reading and seeing
Citizens
this.
of South Orange County voiced their discontent with their school board by a remarkable recall effort to remove and replace all 7 members of the Board of Trustees of the Capistrano Unified School District.
I had spent my summer, as you well know, collecting signatures, and with wonderful volunteers, moms and dads, aunts, uncles, grandparents, and we spent really a good portion of 6 months getting this, to the registrar of voters. And we turned them in with a lot of faith that we would be treated fairly. And in my heart, I know we weren't. And it has rocked me to the core.
And I became involved with going out, meeting the people, and getting signatures. And I was in that field all summer, all the months that we were out trying to obtain them, morning, noon, and night. And I met those people, thousands of people.
We submitted over 25,000, nearly 26,000 in some cases, signatures for each of the 7 trustees. We only needed 20,421 in order to recall a trustee.
The Orange County Registrar of Voters failed to certify the recall, rejecting thousands of signatures, and the volunteers were astounded.
Well, I was so stunned that a third of the signatures had been thrown out that I just wanted to know what happened. And so I got permission from the proponents. I said I'd like to go over and look at the petitions and just see what went wrong.
Didn't make sense when the results came out, not being certified. Numbers just did not add up. I talked to the people. I saw them signing 7 times.
These activists were not going to be deterred.
Did put together an inspection team to go into the recall, into the registrar's office to discover what the reasons were. And the registrar did give categories by which they disqualified certain signatures. And it was our task to go in and to inspect as many of those petitions as we could to find out what the reasons were and whether those reasons were in fact invalid or valid. One of the things we started with were the original total numbers that had been turned in by the recall team, and they revealed a very important factor which is key to our entire argument, and that is that 99.9 or 99.5% of all of the petition signers signed all 7 petitions. That consistently resulted in a differential of only about 181 signatures between the highest number of signatures for the highest trustee and the number of signatures for the lowest number for the lowest trustee. That 181 differential is infinitesimal, which means that it showed that everybody who signed almost to the last person intended to vote a no vote against these trustees 7 times. Yet, when the results came out of the registrar's office, the differential grew to nearly 2,000. So this tells me that there is something on the consistency of the review process, something in the standards of the review, the subjectivity that was given when they separated the petitions that showed that one petition wasn't given the same scrutiny as another.
Jennifer Beal was one of the leaders of the investigative team.
And we went in and we copied every one of the X factor, we call it. It had a red X next to their name if they weren't registered to vote. And we would copy their names and addresses because we had now been denied access to the back computers by the Registrar of Voters, even though Neil Kelly in the previous meeting said he would open up his office to us for inspection. And we divided them up and we purchased the disc from the Registrar of Voters, which is supposedly all 205,000 registered voters in the district on a disc. We downloaded it to our computer and we started double checking their work. It was alarming. I started getting calls from my helpers. We've been robbed. We've been disenfranchised. I mean, people are hysterical. We all deserve to know, and we deserve better.
One of the big categories was not registered to vote. They threw out so many. So I asked one of the employees to show me on the computer that these people were in fact not registered voters. And so I picked randomly 100 signatures that had been thrown out, and of the first 10 that she looked at, 4 of them were registered voters.
That the error rate in their determination was up to 24%. In other words, that number of people that were thrown out clearly by a simple check of the record revealed them to have actually been registered.
So the real shock about it was that when she found these errors, she changed the coding. the validation on the petition. She erased it. She changed them from disqualified to qualified.
It was very alarming to me because of what I noted, and what I saw was the changes. You know, I noted more changes that were green marks being accepted, certified, and then changed to red marks, which were thrown out. But even more alarming than that was seeing a red mark that was stated being thrown out for not registered was then erased and changed to a different red mark, which would be maybe out of the district. Again, changes that were not adding up at all.
We found high percentages of numbers that we believe were either errant, mistaken in some fashion, and it was enough to have caused us to think that there was either some kind of incompetence or negligence or worse.
She continued doing this right in front of me, and I had already said I'm not going to comment when I go in, and it must have been the look on my face that she turned to me and said, "Oh, I can do this as long as I keep track on a separate sheet that I've made these changes." But she continued changing not only from disqualified to qualified, but she'd find other things, other reasons, and say, well, now I'm going to change this other category from disqualified, not there, to disqualified, signature doesn't quite match. So it was incredible to watch. I felt that a crime was being committed as I watched.
What provoked the alarm of the investigators was the implausible discrepancy between the number of signatures on each of the petitions.
99% of the time, those people signed every one of the petitions. How in the world could they be off by over 2,000 signatures per candidate? It doesn't make sense when we turned in, you know, under 200 different signatures per candidate.
And signing 7 petitions is a rather deliberate act, and that's what they did. 99+% of the people signed all 7 petitions.
So we asked Jennifer to tell us what she did to document the inconsistency.
We decided to put the packets back together. And we were able to do that, meaning everybody's stacked differently. Hennis is over here, Draper's over here, and these are last names of trustees. You know, they're all in different tables. We decided to go and put some of these names back together so we could see exactly what you're saying, if this voter was treated fairly, consistently. So we were able to find the petitions, and we would look at, let's just say, Jennifer Beal for Hennis, and we would line her up next to Casabianca, you know, Draper, blah, blah, blah. On one, I would be registered. On one, I would be not registered. On one, I'd be registered too late. Oh, I'm registered again over here, and over here I'd be declared thrown out. So I'm the same voter, treated differently on every single petition. And frankly, their numbers that the registrar gave us supports this inconsistency. And it's so disheartening. How in the world, in America, in Orange County, can this happen?
So in other words, I could have signed all 7 petitions, and yet only 3 or 4 of my signatures would have counted, and the other 3 might not. And it happened in alarming enough numbers that it caused us great concern.
There were several other concerns. The signature gatherers had been told that once the voter signed all 7 petitions and filled out the first petition completely, then the petition circulator could fill in the addresses on the remaining petitions for that voter. Tom Russell pointed out that the county registrar changed this interpretation after the fact, which resulted in the invalidation of several thousand signatures.
Declaration incomplete. This is a particularly troubling one, where we were led down the primrose path, I think. 8 calls to the registrar's office that said that it was all right for our declarants to fill in addresses for petition signers because maybe people are unable, they're too rushed or whatever. It was told by the registrar's office that we could do that. We turned in literally hundreds and hundreds of these pages and thousands of signatures that were thrown out completely because they reversed their position apparently and decided that they weren't going to include those. And we're talking thousands here.
So what recourse is there for these activists?
The first recommendation is that there does need to be a full and independent investigation for all the obvious reasons. We need to maintain the integrity of our system and give people confidence in this. And then secondly, the petitions need to be sealed and moved to a safe location. We have personal, first-hand experience with having seen them tampered with, and we know that they need to be put someplace safe so that when the proper authorities do look at these, we have at least a chance to find out what really happened.
If they are so confident, Leslie, that their numbers are correct and they're going to be so strong to stand behind this validation, why bring in county council? Why deny us the back computers? And more importantly, why not provide the tally sheets, which brings, which is the proof that their numbers are correct?
So we basically are being told, you can't double check our work, you're just basically going to have to trust us. And after what we've seen, we really don't think we can do that. And I'm not saying they're dishonest, I'm saying that what it looks like they've done here is either negligent, incompetent, or possibly worse. But we need to find out, and that's why it needs to be investigated.
This is the one office, public office in the county that should be able to count and should be able to find things on the computer. And my trust in them has certainly been affected by this. And I'm wondering, when we have an election, what does it mean, especially a close one, to see how they can, I feel, change the results.
We went to the registrar with high hopes that we could have trust and faith in the system that we have. And we think it's important that people have faith in their government. This is a situation where the fundamental right of a voter's right to be heard is being impaired. We believe there's been a disenfranchisement here, for whatever reason, for thousands of people in Orange County. And I think the proper authorities need to look into that so that we can fix a system that potentially could be broken. And I have no idea what all the reasons are. We think we've revealed enough that would cause any legal authority with proper jurisdiction to take a serious look. And that's what we're trying to get at.
I hope that an agency will look into what's happening at the registrar's office so we can feel confident again come November.
Full Disclosure made several attempts to interview the registrar recorder. Mr. Kelly referred us to his communications director, and the communications director sent us an email saying that they're declining all interviews. We want to know what you think. Do you think the registrar recorder should be required to provide their tally worksheets to verify the results as accurate? Do you think it was proper for the registrar recorder to separate the voter petitions so that each petition was reviewed by different people? After the registrar recorder told the petition circulators that it was acceptable for them to fill out the addresses on the petitions for the voter, do you think it's fair for the registrar recorder to change the rule and invalidate all those petitions? Please respond to our survey and leave your comments below. Thank you. As you can see, Full Disclosure is not in the business of distorting the news. We're not in the business of trying to convince our viewers, only to inform them. We're a nonprofit educational organization. We provide the platform and the vehicle where you can hear the various perspectives. It's up to you, the viewers, to determine what is right and what is wrong. If you want Full Disclosure to continue to shine the light of truth on important issues that the mainstream media just won't do, then we need your support. There are so many important issues facing our communities, our state, and our nation. And your tax-deductible contribution can help us get the word out to continue informing the public. You are invited to join the Friends of Full Disclosure. Your support will help assure that we can reach more and more people and improve the production quality of our programs. All you have to do is send us the much-needed support using PayPal. Just click on the link below and join at whatever level you can afford. Our goal is government accountability. When the people are informed on the issues, then the people in government must do what is right, because they know we're watching. Together we can make a difference, but we need your support to continue bringing you the news behind the news. Please contribute what you can. Thank you.